Hello, everybody. I'm here. How are you? Oh, Marcia was first person in. Charlene, Sonia. It is so good to see all of you. I'm trying to thread a needle, and now that I had my eye operated on, I have to use these again. So, some of you might not know, but I had cataract surgery Thursday. And she warned me ahead. It was so funny. All of a sudden, hi, Laura. And I think I'm healing well. I'm kind of at a stage where I get headaches a little easily. And I think it's because my eyes are having to learn to refocus. So things, it's like my depth perception is off. They told me when I went to the doctor that now that I had the new lens put in, because cataracts are a strange thing. Some people say, oh, it's from spending too much time in the sun without sunglasses, which I was guilty of when I was a teenager. I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Hi, Adele. So Edwin East is here, and there is Nadine. Hello, darling. So while I'm threading a couple needles, but for some reason in the last year, my left eye cataract really acted up. And what happens is it's a lens made of protein, and as you age, it can clump up, and all the little cells can clump and then clump and then clump. And so what you try to picture saran wrap, but after some of the things clump up together, you end up with wax paper. And so trying to see through wax paper is really tricky. So the good news is only since the 1970s, they have been able to replace the lens with a new man-made lens that does a really good job. And it's so funny. Let me show you this. It looks like a space alien ship or something. It's a circle, but it's got two little arms that come out. It's something like this, okay? And so they just make a tiny incision and they take water pressure and stuff and break up your former lens. Then they kind of vacuum out the lens, put the new replacement in, and these little arms will scar into place so that then your lens is in and good. And so hopefully I won't have to do that again, at least not on that eye. My other eye is not as bad yet. It has a cataract, but it's not as bad. And she said my vision, because it's my left eye that I had the surgery on, and she said that my vision went from 20/80 to 20/20. Much better. But the most exciting part of it is I can see colors so much better. So hello, Vicki Robles. Hello, dear heart. So I'll just show you real quick. I've got a little bruise in that eye, and hopefully you can see it. But otherwise, it seems to be pretty good. Now, I'm having what's called fluttering, which is normal, which is after the swelling goes down until the lens really plants itself in your eye. It'll kind of move around a little bit. And that's a little disconcerting to me. But otherwise, I'm doing really good. And I get to use all of my color-coordinated eyeglass holders again. Hi, Miss Jody. Yeah, I can't put makeup on that eye yet, so I've got one made-up eye and one not, but I'm being careful. So hello. Hello. But I tell you what, I had lost my distance vision for the most part, and when I watched TV, everything was blurry, and I hated that. And I would get headaches because my eyes were so different. And so now I'm getting little, not bad headaches, but just little pressure headaches because my eyes are trying to work it out. Who's going to be in charge and all of that? Yeah, I am trying my best not to rub my eye. In fact, let me show you this. I thought this would be funny. The doctor put this on with adhesive tape, but the adhesive tape was breaking me out. So I put the elastic on, and I thought, hey, what a look is that? But I have to sleep with that, and like in the shower, I put it on, and just to protect that eye. But I tell you what, modern medicine sure is wonderful, and I'm so grateful. So anyway, but I thought I liked my little pirate patch there. So let me thread another needle. Also, to tell you, in case you have been trying to contact me, my email decided the night before surgery, my email decided to go out. Well, I'm not feeling up to fighting to try to figure out how to restore it. So I haven't been able to get any emails since Wednesday. I apologize. If you've tried to reach me, I am sorry. So let me turn on a fan. I'm having a flushed moment here. All right. So anyway, this is an interesting quilt because I'd like to go back to kind of showcasing quilts from time to time. And that is using Jenny Beyer fabrics. And I took Jenny Beyer borders and made them into like a kaleidoscope in the center with 4 pieces. And oh yes, we can't wait to see what. But so anyway, but I just thought that was pretty. And I kind of like the idea of doing purples and various shades of green all the way to kind of a chartreuse. So that's the quilt that's today. It's so funny. I found it in the closet and I went, oh, I made this. I kind of couldn't remember. I mean, I had a vague memory, but anyway, the good thing is it is quilted. It just needs to be bound. So that's something I need to jump on because, you know, I'm all about finishing projects. So, all right. I am all over the place today with different ideas. So I'm just going to, all right. One thing I wanted to show you, I got the room all cleaned last week. I was really, really busy before my surgery because I wanted to get the house cleaned and the room cleaned because I knew that then I shouldn't do stressful things that'll put pressure on my eye while it's healing. So in cleaning it up and cleaning up the room, I found something that I had used before, and I've told some of you this before, but when you make your blocks, lay them on the floor, and if you can, get up on a chair looking down on the blocks. And if you can do that, then take a picture of the blocks. And what I did is then I took and printed out the blocks, and you try to get over the blocks because you don't think oh goodness. Try to get over the blocks and take the picture so that it's not distorted. And then after you take the picture, and I print it on cardstock, and these are printed on regular paper. But now I did these a long time ago, but I print them on cardstock where then I can cut them out and use them like little puzzle pieces. And this is how I lay out my quilts because it is much easier to do this. I don't have a giant design wall. And if you lay them on the floor, you have got to do all that bending over and placing them and changing them. So I just thought I would show you when I found this, that take a picture of all of the blocks you have. Don't just put them down there side by side by side to get them in a tight formation. Take a picture of them. then print it out on cardstock. And then you can take and cut out the individual blocks and put them on another piece of paper and arrange them until you like the way they look. Then you have that as your direction. So I think I decided this was the layout that I liked best. So just a little hint, as we get older, it's too hard to crawl around on the floor to try to line all those blocks up. So it's one of my very best hints of all that I've ever done. So I just thought I would show you that while I had it. Then last week, I really haven't had any pain. This has been, somebody told me it was really easy, and it was. I was in and out of the hospital in 2.5 hours. It was great. And you're awake and a little bit relaxed, but oh no. But you see, this is the fabric box I was making last week. Remember, I had the geranium fabric with the green for the inside. And so after y'all left, I took out the seams because I had taken the directions said 2-inch seams, but it made the box too narrow and I wanted it nice and wide. And I was hoping that foam would work better. I probably should have used 2 layers of it or batting and the foam, because I think what happened is when I pressed it, it kind of shrunk to just something very soft. So this is still a little softer than I would like it, but I'm going to keep experimenting until I find just the right combination. And then I was too lazy to sew the flaps down and sew the buttons on. So good old hot glue, and now I have the basket. So I just thought I'd show you. I took out the seams, made them smaller, because normally you take the rectangle, you fold it in half, and you do a 2-inch seam along the fold edge on each end. Then you try to match the other seams and do the same thing. And this was very, very, very easy. Oh, and I found the photos. Remember I was telling you about how to make this basket. And this is the photo. I was taking 5 of, okay, let me try this again. I was taking 5 of these strips and 5 of those strips and trying to weave them across that corner. You don't. You weave 5 of these and 5 of those. You weave these across this way, and then the sides just come on up so pretty. And then I was going to show you, she did such a great job of folding the fabric box tips in. And she really did a good job. And I was having trouble with it, and it's my fault. Her pattern is fine. It is my fault. But you can see where she had the ends and she started folding them back in. As long as they go under one thing to hold them good, then you trim them off. And I like to put a little bit of glue just so they won't move. And she loves using her basket to hold all of her clips. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. Since I found those directions, I thought it was easier to show you than trying to do all the hand gestures I did. And I still am going to take and do a bound edge here. And at some point one day, I'm going to come back and do that again. So there was something in there. All right. So now there's that fabric basket. And I love stuff like that. A couple years ago, I did the fabric wrapped string. Actually, roping. I covered cotton cord like this with fabric. And you know what I found? Instead of using so much by winding it around, because you would have to do a double bias fold and then wind it around, what I did is I made a long casing which was more work to turn inside out and then put the rope all the way through and run all through. It seemed like more work in the beginning, but it saved a ton of fabric. And that's important because you only have a certain amount of fabric. And I was able to make, let me show you. So that cotton rope comes in very handy. And then I made a vase shape, and then this is a covered box that I made. Okay, and all I did was a zigzag in a nice neutral gray and coiled it up. And as part of the coil, I made a handle and then kept coiling around. And as you're sewing, you just bend up the side. So I love fabric covered bowls, containers, anything like that. I really do. And if you can make them in the fabric that matches with your room, even better. So you can kind of coordinate things. All right. Next week, I'll go ahead and tell you while we're here. Next week, I'm going to show you how to make some decorative buttons. So be prepared for that. I think it'll be fun. I have been having such fun making jewelry, making fabric jewelry. And I kind of thought, how can I keep carrying that theme out just a little more? Do you remember the boho style beads that I made? And they're made of fabric, and then I've decorated them with beads and decorative yarns and decorative stitches. And then the last couple I did with some interesting kinds of beads and yarns. And then I made more of the plain. The fabric looked like denim, but it wasn't. And so I made the fabric beads to go with it, then just used some nice, I don't know if they're glass or plastic beads to kind of interspace them. So this is a fun, something to wear with jeans or whatever, but it's another way of saying I'm an artist and this is what I love doing. This is part of what I love doing. Oh, and I have to tell you, the nurses at the hospital loved my mask. I wore the mask that I had all hand beaded, and it was on a batik fabric, and I graduated the color of the beads to match the background of the batik fabric. They went crazy over it. But anyway, okay. Now this is not the final. These are just strung so I don't lose them, and they're there, and to make sure that everything fits. And it's so funny. I was watching McClintock and with John Wayne, and while I was stringing these, so every time I look at them, I'm going to think of John Wayne. But here I ended up making some of the barrel beads, and you can make barrel beads with, thank you, sweetie. And so this is the beautiful Asian fabric. I did make some barrel beads, and I think they came out pretty good. They're not as smooth as like a paper barrel bead because you have a lot of raw edges. And don't forget what I said about, I thought I had set it out here, but I don't see it right now. But here it is, fray check. Fray check is your best friend. Anytime you're dealing with something, now there's other different brands out there, and this will help keep fabric from unraveling. And the reason I have it here is because I'm going to make a prayer brooch in just a moment to show you. And since I'm working with LeMay's, I thought I better get it out. But anyway, so I have some barrel beads on here, and then I have some short regular beads, and then I thought I had some long ones, but I guess not. They're all different sizes. But I haven't decided if I'm going to make two necklaces or make a double necklace. But for right now, I just wanted to make sure that I had at least 3 coats of the triple thick by Deco Art. And that way they're nice and shiny and firm. So these are just strong to keep their place. The same thing with this one. I made a lot of beads, and I'm kind of thinking of either doing gold in between or black, maybe black and gold. And so I just wanted to make sure that I had kept them all in one place because they've had at least 3 coats of the triple thick. And listen to this. You hear them? They are nice and firm and I think quite pretty. So you just take a fabric you like, turn it into a bead, you coat it with at least 3 layers of an acrylic sealer, and I think then it becomes quite a pretty piece of jewelry. So I haven't decided exactly the finish that I'm going to do for that. Now there is one here that I did finish. And this bead, this necklace had so many bright, the fabric was wonderful. It was so bright. And so I just interspersed it with some colorful pony beads. But you see that? And this is just fabric. Oh, and I did make one barrel bead for the middle. And so there is that. All right. So I think that would be really pretty when you want something nice and bright. You know, you're wearing something with good, lots of rainbow colors, or something that just has one of those solid colors. So that was fun. Whether I ever wear them or not, it's fun. All right. So now I wanted to talk to you about 2 different things. Let's go into first. We'll come back with the prayer brooch. But I want to show you a little bit about making kaleidoscope blocks. That is something I'm really interested in. And when I went camping, I cut a couple width by fabric pieces of this and tried to cut them into what I thought would make a good kaleidoscope. The problem is I didn't have any of my good rulers, and instead I cut a triangle that needed 5 of them. Well, I'm not going to want them to be the whole circle. I'm going to want them to be half moons. So I need something with 6 so I don't have wonky little edges. Oh, I'm going to have to check that then, because it's just from time to time, I just want to do something like that. So let me take here and let me see. I'm just going to pick a measurement. I'm going to tear this strip down. And I think that this will end up, this will end up a pretty good width, because whatever width of the strip, if you double it, that's approximately how big your finished product would be. All right. So let me put this aside, but I've got a bunch of this, so I thought, let's play with it and do something really interesting for the borders, because I love stripes. They are so flexible. Okay. Now let me get some of my stuff out of the way here. And what I have done today is I brought over all of my triangular shaped rulers, and I wanted to show you how, I wanted to show you how to decide what ruler would work for what you want. Because I'm not talking about a class you took where they told you what ruler and all. I'm talking about you've got some striped or pretty fabric and you kind of want to play with it, okay? So now let me the first thing I'm going to do, which I do a lot when I want precision piecing, I'm going to, while the iron is heating up, I'm going to take and spray starch on this. And I'm kind of folding it. So that the starch can go on all at once. And I don't want to waste too much. So there we go. And that way the starch will settle in while my iron is heating up. And then I want to lay it straight out. The one thing you have to, I love tearing because you will get an absolutely straight of the grain piece of fabric. The one thing you have to be careful about is it makes about 1/8 of an inch on either side. Hi, Kim. I'm so tickled you found us live. So now, what I've noticed is sometimes you have to flip this over because that torn edge will curl under. So if you flip it over and just make sure that the curled edges are laying flat out. Okay? Anytime you want precision piecing, I recommend starching it. See how it's got now some real body. Okay? So I'm going to leave that there. Then this is what I'm going to get you to do. Okay? I needed to have a circle on this paper. So let me grab one more thing really quickly. Okay. All right. I thought, how can I draw a perfect, and it doesn't have to be any particular size, okay? I just needed a good size circle. So I took and found this lid for a bowl. Now this came from Chinese food, and I love keeping these. You can store leftovers. I use this to put my triple thick in it when I'm painting beads. I can use it to mix paint. And I said, hey, this will give me a perfect circle so easily, because I'm not good with math and I don't have a compass and all of that stuff. So now I've got my circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this to where I line up the lines. I can see through the paper. I line it up, and that way, see, it's right. You have to make sure that your two edges line up. See how they line up? All right. Then what I'm trying to do is find out what angle. I want to make 6 wedges, okay? 6 wedges. Well, 6 into, and okay, let me go back here. Because this is minimum math, guys. I don't like math very much. This is a 360-degree circle. All circles are 360. Now, if I left it like this, then it would be, what is 4 into 36? That would be 90. I want to get a 60-degree, which means I need 6 parts. Okay, 6 parts. And you see how I folded it? Now I have 4, then 1 more, and I think this is right. Let me go check 1, 2. Oh, this is an 8 one. Uh-oh. Okay, do I want to make 8? Yeah, if I wanted to do 6 to make a hexagon, I'm trying to think of, I can't fold it down the middle. What I would have to do is something like this, making sure that these are totally even. Looks pretty good. Okay, so I've got 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. But now that I'm thinking about the 8, I'm more excited about that 8. Okay, let me show you very quickly. If I were to do 6, I would have them, and I had to kind of estimate, but you see how my edges, it came out even? So it would be 1 triangle here, 1 triangle, 1 triangle. And it only is, when I say the triangles, remember that, because to you it's going to look like, well, wait a minute, they don't look even. So let me do this. Okay, so here is your half circle. And 1, 2, 3. Do you see? And let me just double check. Aha. This is a tri-tool. And it doesn't say what the angle is. But that's pretty close there. Now this is a 45 degree. This is a 45 degree angle. So yeah, that is different. Now that 45 degree would work well if I decided to do 8. Okay. Then this one is an 18 degree. Okay. Yeah, don't want to make that many. Now this right here says it's a 60. So that must mean a 60 degree. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is. So it shows that I did pretty good. I did pretty darn good in making the 60 degree angle. So I think I'm going to go ahead with this. So this is the Clearview Super 60 by Sarah Nephew 1998. So I'm going to use the 60 degree. That'll give me the 6 cuts. And you know what? Sewing together 6 versus 8, is that much less time? All right. So this is to show you, if you didn't know what your actual angles were to get to be, if you didn't know what ruler would work for what, this is one way of finding out. And so here is the wedges. Now, this is the width of fabric. So you see, it looks like it would be a really good width. So what I'm going to do now is put this ruler on top, and I line up the point with that, and it looks like it's going to make a 3.5 inch piece. So what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to put a piece of tape. I'm going to put a piece of tape on this 3.5 inch mark. And that way, it just makes it that much simpler to line this up and cut these pieces. Now, let me show you then what I do next. All right. Let me grab my cutter. All right. Here we go. All right. So I have a cutting mat right here. Now this is where I don't like to waste fabric. And I want to show you something. With the stripes, as long as you're on the straight of grain. All right. Let me get some chalk so I can mark this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come in here and whoops. Wait a minute. I think I put this on the wrong 3.5, not 4.5. Here we go. Line this back up. This means that my finished circle would be about 6.5 inches, I think. All right. So here we go. I line this up, put the tip right here. Now, I can either take this chalk marker and mark this, or if I feel comfortable making these cuts towards me, I can come in here and cut this out, okay? Now, I'm going to put this in one pile, and I will tell you why. Because then I'm going to come up here and flip the ruler over, because I don't like wasting. If I were to do a hexagon of this stripe, I could only use every other one. And then, so 50% of this fabric would be wasted. But what I'm going to do is flip this over, carefully come in and cut it. And this is going to be in pile 2, because you can see those aren't going to work together. So I have pile 1 and pile 2. And just to make sure, I'm going to put a 1 and I'm going to put a 2. Draw a little 2 on this, okay? So now I know I have pile 1, pile 2. So now when I come back, to make the next cut, I'm back to pile 1. And look at this. Do you see how they go together? Really, really nice. So now let me cut a little bit more. Now I'm going to flip the ruler around again. And this is going to be for the pile 2. Okay, and every new strip I cut out is going to look a little bit different, because it's going to be on different stripes. So this way, look at this. Won't that be pretty? All right, so here's pile 2. So I've got pile 1 and pile 2. Now I'm back, and I turn the ruler, not my fabric, because that way I don't get as confused as to which one is which. The fabric just lays the same. Okay, line it up good. You only have one chance to get this right, so take your time. All right, this is what I'm thinking of. I'm going to have now that I have 3 of pile 1, now I have to write and see how B is doing. I've missed her. And Inger has been in here a few times, but I have missed Miss B. This is what I'm thinking of doing for my outside border, because I wanted to do something special with these gorgeous stripes. I didn't just want to have a stripe border. I'm thinking of putting these 3 together on a border that's about this big. And so I'll have these ovals going down the border. And I think that, and I don't know what color, maybe a yellow border, I'll just have to see. But I'm going to, and actually all I would have to do is cut triangles out of the background of the border so that these shapes will come out. Let's say if I did have a yellow piece of fabric here. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. So let's say I had the background and I decided to use yellow for the background. Then just picture this. And then I would have another triangle here, and then just have these going down. Or I could do green. I might do a nice spring green. But I just wanted to show you, what if you want to make a hexagon kaleidoscope with striped fabric? You know about how big you want it, but you don't know what ruler will work for what. Do remember that a big ruler like this, you can do hexagons way up to over 10 inches just by how far you put this onto your striped fabric. on your stripe fabric. Once you tear it, just make the cuts the same all the way across. Now this way, when I cut this one, that'll be for pile 2, because pile 1 has this blue, dark blue stripe at the bottom. Pile 2 has a very pale blue. So I just kind of thought I'd show you that if you're making this up as you go and you don't have a pattern that tells you what to do, you can figure this out yourself. Okay? So, and just don't forget, any round shape makes a wonderful circle. And that way you don't have to stress over it. And the reason I did the circles, because some of these, like this one, is, whoops, this one right here. This one is not marked at what the degree. This has no marking of what the degree is. So it really helps then if you kind of have a good idea of what you want. And that way you don't have to go out and buy a special ruler. And you know what you could do? Let's say you don't have a 60-degree ruler and that's what you wanted. Then get cardboard or get some of your template plastic and make your own. And you decide when you figure out what the angle is, and when you're doing a circle, however many pieces divided by 360 divided by how many pieces of the pie tells you what your angle is. And then if you can draw it out and see it, you can make a template. So I was lucky I had a 60-degree ruler, but what if you didn't? You could make your own, okay? And you just have to make sure that you cut them equally. And, you know, I thought I was being cute at camping, and I cut these pieces out and realized if to do a half circle of 5 pieces that's not going to work. So I'd rather have the seams end up equal and by the time that I take that hexagon, sew it together, it's going to look a lot smaller. And so I think it'll be pretty. So, and you know, you could even then, you could take a little lace and sew on the edge before you stitch it down onto a border. You could do a crochet edge. It just kind of opens up what you can do with a border on your quilt. And I like that. So now, since I have the camera tilted over here, let's make what I'm calling, for lack of a better term, a prayer pin. And this is dedicated to Miss Linda McCullum, because that woman makes the coolest things. And as you see, I have the little bird and the little owls, the things she made me for Christmas. So, and she always has little gifts that she can give to people. So let me show you this. I went upstairs and I got found, and I'm being very careful with my camera. Mark got Gorilla Glue to hold it in, but I want to make sure that I don't stress it. So thank you, Mr. Mark, because I would be in trouble. All right, so let me grab all my little pretty things. But I said, show me how to move the camera so that I don't break it again. And he was happy to show me. Okay, so I just grabbed a few little things in. I have a drawer upstairs where I keep little bits of stuff. He is a good guy. He is so good. He went to the hospital with me. I think he was a little disappointed that I didn't come out of surgery looking like Cheryl Teague. But you know what? You work with what you got. So now I have got a needle threaded with some good neutral thread. And I think that I'm going to start. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to start with some really fine organza or ribbon. This is going to be my background, okay? So what I'm going to do, and I've got this thread doubled so that I can pull it tight if I need to, And I'm going to do a couple little stitches just to kind of hold it together and to kind of bunch it up a little bit at the top, okay? And then if you want, you can come down a little farther so you've got a pretty little shape to this ribbon. And here is the original that I made some years ago. And I just love this. And the reason I love this is because you can have little gifts to give to your friend. And let's say your friend's having a rough time or something, a new grandbaby. You can give them this prayer pen. And I'm not religious, so I call it prayer pen because what it is I was thinking of you. And when you wear this, you will know that I'm thinking of you. And I love that whole idea of that. Okay, so I'm sewing it from the back. I think I'm going to try to gather it a little bit more because I don't want it to be too big. So I'm just stitching a big stitch and kind of gathering it. I think that's good. Then I'll go ahead and just put a knot, but I'm not going to cut the thread. I'm just going to put a knot to keep that gathering together. Okay. Now, I brought 2 different types of lame. You can decide. I'm going to do both of these colors because I like I love color. So the more the merrier for me. All right. So I'm going to cut this piece about like this. And see all these little bits? Save those. Take and cut off a handful of those. You will use those. Okay, so now, then I'm going to cut off a piece of this. And I don't want this to be quite as big. Okay, because I want the pink to be the bigger piece. Now, for fun, this is Angelina fibers that I pressed together between an pressing sheet, like the kind that are silicone or Teflon. I'm going to cut a piece of that too, okay? Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make it a little more feathery at the bottom. So I'm just pulling there. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Now you can save these little bits that you pull out, but I like having the little fringe edge. And then I'm going to pull off this from the side because that was too much and save your little fringe. But I'm going to make this, there we go. I want it a little fringy at the bottom. Then I'm going to take this and then I'm going to put this on top. Like this. And I'm just kind of folding it on there. Now, take the time to get this the way you want. Okay. So I want it nice and like that. And then this one, and check the side. One might be a little prettier or more brilliant than the other. I'll put this here. All right. Then I'm going to take and put, and I do want to have some of this. And I'm going to let the wispy ends hang down. So I'm going to put a little bit of that behind those. And you know what? This is all just based on what I like at that moment. Then I'm going to come in with my long thread and I'm going to stitch these down. And I'm going to leave that brown just a little bit higher than the rest so that you can see that that is the finished edge of this piece. And I'm going to make sure that I get it tucked in good. All right. I think it's tucked in pretty good. Then I'm going to come down and give it a good little stitch into place, making sure, oops, see how the blue kind of went over there? I'm going to pull it back down because I want these stacked up, okay? And if you have an edge that is a little bit fussy, turn it under like that. Turn your edges under, and then that way, when you do the stitching, it's just a little tidier, but it's up to you. You can make it as tidy or as messy as you wish. And then before you knot the thread, come back up, pull it out. I don't like the sharp edges of the Angelina, so I'm just going to nip those off. And then that, now I like that better. All right, so I nip those off. And I'm going to come down just and put one more gather and leave your thread in place. Just when you come down to do that gather, you're going to want to knot it. Okay, let me just make sure I have a knot and then I've got all the edges. Okay, now I'm going to knot this. All right, I'm going to do it one more time because sometimes these fabrics are little, the fabrics can be a little wispy. All right, now I'm going to trim off this edge right here, and that's why I ended up bringing over this. Whoops, come on, light. There we go. Bringing over the fray check, because then I can come along here and dab the fray check on the edge and stop the fraying. I can let it continue to fray where I want it to, but I get to decide at what point it stops fraying. All right, so let me put the lid back on here. Now, what I'm going to do is I have a wonderful button that came, I believe this button came from Miss Bonnie. And remember today, everybody, it is Bonnie's birthday. So happy birthday, our dear Bonnie. I've got a little surprise coming to her. So happy birthday, dear Bonnie. So I now have taken this cute little button and it's got a clock on it. And you could kind of go, yeah, I thought it was about time to let you know how much you meant to me. See, you can even make a theme of it. So I'm going to come in through this button and then go back. All right. So now I have a little button at the top. Yes, happy birthday, Miss Bonnie. I don't know if she's here. She was at the Jitsi Sew yesterday, but I bet you she's got some plans for today. Well, we love our Miss Bonnie. All right, so now I've sewn the button on twice with double thread, and here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I looked in, let me see, hold on, I've got to do the camera right. All right, I found some pretty little buttons that I can sew on. And I like that with this prayer pin, it's got a lot of fluffies and stuff on it. So that's where let me get some of these pretty little beads. I think I wanted to call them buttons, but I'll put a few of these beads out. And then what of this would I like? I definitely want a bunch of these lame fibers. Love those. And I definitely want a piece of this eyelash yarn. Okay. So I'm going to take and gather these in my hand. Oh, there's even this little piece of Angelina. So let me see. Hold on. I don't want it too long. Let me see. Okay. I might have to cut off this little piece. It was hanging down too long. All right. So you see, it's just a matter of edit as you go. Then take and put this on here. And this is just a little something to wear when you go shopping, something to wear when you go to your quilt meeting, anywhere that you will take a little comfort to know that someone cared enough to make this for you. Now I'm going to come up with, this blue bead would be the prettiest. So I'm going to come forward with this. I'm getting low on thread. I might have to thread another one. But I'm going to put a big bead right here. Pull it tight. Then I'm going to do, I think I might come in here with some small beads now. So I'll come back up here and I'll put 2 smaller beads together on this. And then come back over here. And put 2 smaller beads on this. And then bring that through to the back, okay? And it's just, and then what you can do is you can take and kind of trim it a little bit so it's not too crazy. Then I bought a package of these bar tacks, and I will sew this bar tack on the back, and that way they can, but let's say you didn't have a bar tack closure. On the one I first made, I just used a big safety pin. So now we have 2 little prayer things, and it's a wonderful way to take little bits and pieces from your life and make something, and you can keep these as gifts for your friends. And when you think they could use a little cheering up or you want to help celebrate with them, then you have got something that you can share, and they can pin that on to feel special about themselves all day. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you today. Oh, I even had you could take and put little ribbon. In fact, maybe this would make a really pretty little bow under the clock. And just make a nice double strand of thread, nice and long, so that you have plenty of thread to sew all of your goodies on. But you could take here, oh, come on. You could always put a bow, let's make it littler. You could always take and put a little bow under the clock. Just decorate it whatever way you think. And the reason I like the name a prayer button or prayer brooch is because when you're taking the time to make this, you can be thinking about that special person and putting as many good wishes in that as you can. So anyway, I thought you might like these are inexpensive little things that we can make to let people know we care. And you don't have to have a lot of money. You don't even have to have a lot of time. And it's just the good thoughts that you think of while you're making that. These are all little pieces, so I'm going to put those away. But anyway, just don't forget your little prayer brooches, gifts, pins, little prayer pins. That's probably a good name for them. And I think they're pretty awesome. All right. And when you wear them, people might come up to you and want to know what that is and what it's about. And you can tell them and share that with them too. So let me put my tools away here. And so next week, I'm going to show you a couple really cool ways to make decorative buttons. And any of you who like to sew outfits, maybe this is a little way you can put something special on it. Some of them you can even use as, you can make little brooches out of them too. And I love putting a little something on that I know someone sent me or I made, and it just feels special. Okay, now, all righty. And you know, so far as that fancy yarn, ask your knitting friends if they have any little bits that they don't use anymore. Could they save them for you? And they might have some yarns that they don't like that they thought they would like, but they became too difficult to actually knit with. And boy, I got lucky. My former sister-in-law gave me a big bag that her friends gathered up. So, all right, I'm going to try to go and show you the show and tell. It's going to be the same show and tell that I did before, because sadly, I can't get my emails. So you've probably sent me photos that I haven't gotten yet, and I'll make sure that I show them to you next week. All right, so here we go. All right. Let me turn this around and carefully turn the camera without stressing the joint. Let's see how this goes. I'm trying, but see, it's showing you the fact that this camera's already a little wonky is showing you that it's loose again. All right, let us go. Whoops. No, I didn't plan on that. Let's go and check out photos. All right. Where am I going? Oh, while I'm here, we are starting our next Art Quilt Thursday project, and we are going to do a foggy woodland. And I'm going to show you how to easily make a wonderful foggy woodland. And if you want to have focus on different colors, like you would like a really pretty blue art quilt for your wall, or would you like something in yellows? I'm going to give you as many opportunities, and you're going to be surprised how easy it is to make this quilt. Or you could maybe want a fall scene. This is an easy way to make a very striking landscape. And I'm going to give you hints and tips to help you create that depth, that foggy, misty background. So that'll start this coming Thursday. I'm working on a pattern, and if you want a pattern, I can share with you. And if you think you'd rather do your own pattern, then that's okay too. Whoops, I'm not sure I had a new one from Miss Adele. Let me go back here. Miss Alexis. And I can now show, this is Hoist, I think is this guy's name. And she finished it, and it was going to be displayed on an online site, so I couldn't show you until today. But look at all she has done with this. Isn't that amazing? So I hope she got a really good response from her beautiful artwork. Way to go, Miss Alexis. That is a lot of dedication. So here we have Miss Bonnie's quilts that she's been working on lately. Beautiful, beautiful. And when we chatted in Jitsi yesterday, I could see her tumbler flag quilt on her wall. Beautiful job. Beautiful. All right. Now, next. And I will try to get my, this is Charlene Lawson, who took a class from Bonnie Langenfeld, and she learned to do this wonderful dog with wonderful thread sketching. So remember that name, Bonnie Langenfeld. She's very talented, and you can get a memory stick of hers that covers a class. You can take classes from her. All right, here is Miss Dolores and her cutie pie grandchildren who were at an archaeological dig trying to find dinosaur bones. And so cute. I love it when kids have a funny thing to do. Oh, I wanted to go back. This one granddaughter purposely mismatches her socks every time. I love it. She's already got an artistic voice. And then her 12-year-old grandson making a quilt for his new baby sister. Isn't that sweet? Very, very sweet. Love these flowers. Okay. So thank you, Miss Dolores, for those photos. Now, Diana Wright. Oh, I did get this one earlier before my email gave out. And this is Diana Wright finished that customer quilt. And I love how she added the ladybug to the beautiful daisy quilt. Okay. And here's the back. And I love how she puts the extra leftover blocks on the back. Whoops. Now, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Go right back to it. All right. And here was a customer quilt she did. And I love that. And you can express yourself, your beliefs, so many different ways. Now I remember someone telling me their roses quilted on this, and that's because the people, that they were fans of the Grateful Dead. So that's neat. But you can really express yourself with quilting. People might not realize that. And this is a wonderful tote she made for someone. I love the fact that it's a box tote so that you can easily store and see what you have in it. That's terrific. All right. And here was that quilt when she was getting ready to load them up on the machine. And her friendly neighborhood raccoon who likes to come and get a little dip in the pool. But you notice its tail is holding tightly to the edge. Smart raccoon. All right. I'm a little afraid of raccoons, but she enjoys hers. Here is Edwin Niece's quilt she's working on, and I can't wait to see what else she does with that. Good job. All right. And now I better put my glasses on. I'm having a hard time seeing. Yes, I need to find out what Miss B is doing in England because I'm hoping she's working on a new project. Oh, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Good job, Miss Inger. All right. Now, let me see. And like I say, if you have posted new photos, I apologize for not having them, and I will try to get my email fixed because I get hundreds of emails a day. I better get it fixed. Look at this wonderful Scrabble quilt with names of beloved family members. I love that. Isn't that creative? Oh, love it. And this is Miss Jeannie. Love Miss Jeannie. She was at our Jitsi sit and stitch yesterday. What fun. I love this pillow she made for her husband and the chair back for her pup. And there's the little pup. And here are all the blocks to use to make that quilt. Amazing. Look at that. Keeping all of that straight and in order. Whew, that's a job. That's hard. That kind of stuff is hard for me, I'll tell you. Okay, Miss Jody, I cannot wait to to have you see. We saw parts of it, and oh, Susan sent her a wonderful mummy photo to use. But look at all her characters. She's so talented. We always get so excited. We can't wait to see what she's working on next. And look at that. Isn't that Wolfman? Isn't he amazing? A way to go. And I can't wait. I will say her next character is a little amphibious. So hopefully we'll have those photos very soon for you. Here is Kathleen Kendall from Maine. Her beautiful garden. I'm so glad y'all shared your garden photos to show how beautiful your area, your little neck of the woods is. I love it. Isn't that beautiful? And look at the lupins. Oh, they're glorious. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Miss Kathleen Kendall. Thanks for sharing that. Then here we go. We've got Linda McCollum's, and I am lucky enough to own one or two of those little birds that I treasure. And that's what when I did the prayer pins today, it's just so nice to have little gifts that you can give to people. And look at this little felted bird. And hopefully I've got, yes, she made a second one. And that is a bottle cap, just to show you how petite and precious they are. Isn't she so talented? Very talented woman. And a happy belated birthday. We wished her happy birthday, July 4th. And we'll wish her again. And look at these little things. You know, you stamp on fabric, you do decorative stitching, you use little found objects or buttons. Isn't that beautiful? And she can sit and relax in front of her television or listen to a good audiobook and make her treasures. And then she has gifts to share with people she cares about. Now look here at what Miss Marcia's been up to. She made some fabulous fabric buttons. So I'm really impressed. Way to go, Miss Marcia. That's a gorgeous necklace. Or bracelet. I'm not sure what she's using it as. Okay, Miss Melanie, who is working on the binding tool star. And look at this wonderful landscape quilt she made. And a gorgeous table runner, paper piecing. And look at that. Isn't that striking? And I love this embroidery, Native American. And look at that cute puppy dog with the jointed legs. Love it. All right, let's see. Michelle's next. And I finally got, put this back up here. All right. Skip that. Okay. I love her spools quilt. And I happened to watch I think it was the latest Alex Anderson, and she's working on they're teaching a spools quilt that's cute as it can be. Way to go, Miss Michelle. Okay. Miss Nadine. Oh, gosh. Now let me see. I want these to be turned around to really, everybody went crazy over, that turned around too far. Everyone went crazy over these. Okay, I think this is the right way. Let's look at this. Look at this. And these are her little treasures like Linda McCollum does, where she uses colors, watercolors, stamps, pretty fabric, and makes these little vignettes. And that is absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, this one I'm going to have to rotate left. All right, this is worth it. These are so gorgeous. I wish I had thought to rotate them sooner, but look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And look how she made what looks like a sun. I assume that's the sun. And look at the stamped flowers colored in. Very, very talented lady, our Miss Nadine. Okay, this one's going to need to be rotated left also. Let's see this one. Oh boy, isn't that beautiful? That is amazing. Miss Nadine, these are beautiful. I have a feeling you're going to have people wanting to buy them from you. Okay, this one, I think I'm going to have to rotate left. She did such, it's the, what she did is she tried to load them all on the site, and so she turned them so they would fit in tightly together, and I just saved them without realizing, and I apologize because these are so beautiful. They deserve to be seen and enjoyed. I mean, that is just so talented. Miss Nadine, your mind is magic. It's wonderful. Okay, now this one needs to be rotated left. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Isn't that charming? So talented. And she said that she's working on these right now because in the summer it's kind of hot in her second floor where her sewing studio is. So this is something she can work on downstairs where it's cooler. And it's just beautiful. Now this one, whoops, let me see. Whoops. One more. Aha, I found it an easy way to rotate it. But look at this. Everyone last week was talking about Miss Nadine's beautiful work. That is so pretty. It's just magical. Okay. Isn't that lovely? Looks like she might have put some threads for hair and done some threads for tree bark. Beautiful. I think that when Miss Nadine has some time, maybe she could teach us how she does this. Okay, rotate left. Let's see. We could spend all day just on Miss Nadine's talent. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? She let her imagination just go to all the wonderful fairy tales. I love it. Magical forest. Okay, let's see. I think this one has to be rotated left. Okay. Oh, wow. Isn't that beautiful? So some of you who've done scrapbooking and have stamps, here's a new way to make use of them in making artwork. Just beautiful. Okay, let's see. This one will be rotated. Okay, here we go. Isn't that beautiful? Goodness gracious, that's so pretty. I love that crow, the fox. You can just picture a fairy tale based around this. Look at the mushroom. Just beautiful. I love the hanging vines and trees. Okay. Now this one needs to be turned upside down. Oh gosh, this is so charming. Mr. Dean, we are in love with your artwork. We are just in love with it. Beautiful. Okay, this one is going to Rotate left. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. You got us all buzzing about your work. Everybody now is like, ooh, I think I have a few stamps. I might be able to try it. Oh, I don't know. I think that would be wonderful. Okay, let's see. And I love the little cottage for the gnomes and the fairies. Beautiful. All right, we have 2 more left. Let's see if I can turn this. And I will try to fix these so that next week we can go through them. Because I'm going to want these to be here for a little while. These are so magnificent. So I wish that Miss Linda McCollum and our Nadine could get together, because they both are so gifted in this kind of work. And it is creating magic. She's even got a pheasant up here on the fence. And I love how the bunny is looking at it. The geese want to know, what is that pheasant doing on the fence? Isn't that sweet? Beautiful, beautiful work. Miss Nadine, we love you to bits. We really do. Okay. Oops, nope, that's not one. All right. Aha, our Patty from Nova Scotia. Look at her wonderful binding tool star quilt. I need to check with her and see if anybody who's working on this needs any help to get to the next stage, because it is a fabulous quilt. This is Miss Polly's, and I'm hoping to finally sew this week with Miss Polly. Last week, I just had so much house cleaning to do to get ready for surgery, and she said, no problem. But look how she designed that swath of daylilies. Just beautiful. And I'm not sure what kind of grass that is, but it's beautiful as well. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, look at this. Now, did someone tell me last week this is calendula? And this looks like some kind of straw flower. I'm not real sure, but it looks like a succulent here. But that is just so pretty. Oh, look at that. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Oh, beautiful daylilies. Ah, campanula or balloon flower. They're beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that purple. So if you have more pictures of your garden you'd like to share, I would love to see them. Okay. Now let's see who is next. Miss Sarah. Oh, got to show her grandniece off again. This is such a beautiful, beautiful little baby girl that she's raising. It's got her headband, Minnie Mouse. She was going to Disney on Ice, and she couldn't wait. What a sweet baby. She's also raising her grandson. We love Miss Sarah. Miss Sarah's got a huge heart. And then I just am very taken with Miss Susan's plaid quilt. I mean, is that just wonderful or what? Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? Way to go, Miss Susan. I think that was one of her quilt testing patterns. And you gotta love quilt testers. We wouldn't have quilt patterns without them. All right, I think that was it for this week. And I will try to have more. And I got to get used to seeing myself in glasses again, because this is life now. But when I can see the shapes and the colors of leaves and flowers, and when the TV, it just kind of opens up the world. The first thing I said was, it's like Disneyland. Everything is so bright and beautiful. All right, you guys. So I think I've just about covered everything. Just remember, next week I'm going to show you at least two different kinds of buttons to make that they made back in historical times. And I'm going to show you a way to turn one of those into very special um, brooches, pins, whatever. So, okay. So anyway, I'm sorry that I couldn't get to my email to open up new things, but I tell you what, the between the gardens and Miss Nadine's work and some of your other work, it is wonderful. So, okay, that was great. Anyone have any questions? Also, I love it when you say, hey, could you show us how to do this? Like, would you like an in-depth day on binding a quilt? All the little ins and outs of binding. Whatever. It is so good. Oh, I see my Michelle, everybody. Oh, Alberta's here too. And I'm tickled that Kim Hicks got to be here in real time. How wonderful. So, oh yes, if you would please give me a little thumbs up, I would appreciate it. And it is so good. Vicki Lemire's here. Everybody, it's so good to see you all. So, but please feel free to, in fact, let me write this down. If you have a topic that you would like to see me cover, if there is something that you do not know how to do or it gets you confused, would you please send me an email? Hold on, I gotta. Last week I could see that without glasses, but you know what? I'd much rather have my better vision. No rubbing, yes. I think I'll be putting back on my little pirate cap because that'll keep that eye safe. So I already went in to see her 24 hours later. I go in this Thursday and do a 1 week check and then another check in a month. And the good news is that this one is not as nearly as bad. So I might have a year or more that I can wait before I have to do that one. So you struggle with quilting? Oh, because I will teach you whatever I possibly can, whatever I can help you with. I would enjoy that very much. So, even if you want to see if you can stump the Deb and try to come up with questions, even some you think I might not know. I might surprise you. I might not. We'll see. Anything else you would like to say or ask questions of? And I'm hoping by next week my eyes will have learned to work together again. It's a big change to a poor Deb brain when one eye goes from 2080 vision to 2020 again, and then both eyes are like, whoa, you changed all the rules. So, oh no, I'm sorry. I tell you what, hopefully they can help it. I'm trying to follow the rules because I don't want any complications. So, oh, you're very welcome, Miss Kim Hicks, hon. Oh, you were wondering where Susan Smith is. She did a Jitsi yesterday, and she's working on a pattern testing that has a deadline. So I have a feeling she just went, I need to get stuff done. And Rick might have said, hey, I'd like some attention too, So whatever reason, we know that she works so hard. So we give her as much time as she needs. Well, thank you, Michelle. I might just do that then. That way I'll have two eyes that hopefully will work pretty closely together. So, all right, guys. So, my dear ladies, Maisie, come here, Maisie. Want to come say hi? Come here. Good girl. Here is Miss Maisie. Are you shy on camera? I know. Oh, she's smelling that eye. Something's been done there. Yeah. So here's Miss Maisie. She's doing really, really well in her new home, and we love her to bits. So, all right, guys, have a great, great week. I love you all too. In fact, like coming on here today, it was like, I want to go see my friends. I want to go play with my friends. So thank you for being here for me, no matter what. All right. Take good care. Take good care of yourself and have a great, great week ahead. Do something special just for you. Bye, sweeties. See you Thursday and next week.